Ah, oh, I just got a glance of myself in the mirror in harsh light. Does that sound familiar? Why are our 40s so frightening, especially for women? Is it because we hear horror stories of mental breakdown, harrowing physical maladies, sagging breasts and jawlines, root canal, hair loss, waning energy, and all in all, age settling in and taking away the vitality of our youth? Today I have a treat for you. I have the author of Fortytude, making the next decades the best years of your life through the 40s, 50s, and beyond. Her name is Sarah Brokaw.
Hello, how are you?
I'm awesome. I'm already over 40.
And so am I.
Oh, good. So turning 40 for a lot of women has this stigma to it, a negative stigma. You know, you see the wrinkled cream commercials that you start to realize are directed towards you. You're part of that age range where insurance companies offer policies to you. And then there's that incessant ticking of the biological clock, the dreaded menopause, and school reunions. And I understand that
Yes.
school reunions was a bit of a fear for you at one point.
Yes, I would love to give this as a wonderful example of someone who did not have Fortytude, which was me when I was 38 years old, and it was my high school 20th year reunion. And because I was not married and I didn't have kids, nor did I have a boyfriend, I made the decision to not attend the reunion.
Right.
And the very next day, I got a number of calls from other students who asked why I didn't go. And I was too embarrassed to tell them that I didn't go because I felt like a loser. I just said, I had another commitment to something. And after that day, receiving so many phone calls from these fellow students, I really had to sit back and think, no, that's not me. I usually go into any situation with guns blazing. And then I had to really dig that much deeper, remove my hands from my eyes, and recognize that I, like many other women out there, had this angst about what it was to be my age at 38 and not have reached the traditional milestones of being married or having any children. So right at that moment is when I decided to remove the word fear and replace it with sparkling. So instead of being a fearful moment, I made it a sparkling moment for myself. And that sparkling moment has allowed me to really take on this issue about aging by the horns and create a project on, working with several women across the nation about how do we redefine the aging process, especially starting at 35, so that we can be excited and curious about it rather than fearful and regretful about it.
So how do you redefine the aging process so that those pink flamingos on the lawn aren't so scary?
Right. Well, I think that's really good. I think it really starts with relanguaging. You really have to think about when you say, I'm turning 40, oh my God, what I'm going to do. Of course, you're going to have more fear, right?
Yeah.
Or you can say, I'm turning 40 and I'm curious about what this is going to entail. Now, in order to get into that mindset, in addition to, relanguaging, I think it's very important to incorporate 5 essential values that I do mention in my book. The first one being grace. The second is connectedness. The third one is accomplishment without the traditional milestones or the monetary and materialistic factors. The next one being adventure, and the final one is spirituality. And if you can define those 5 values in your own words without hearing anyone else's voice, you're way ahead of the game. Then you really will be able to look at life through the curious lens rather than the fearful lens. And I would say that this should be applicable to women in their 20s as well. It shouldn't just start off when you're 35.
Or perhaps women in their 50s and 60s.
Right. I've received a number of emails from women who have passed the age of 40 who said, it's so interesting because you talk about, women finally figuring it out in their 40s. Well, I still haven't figured it out. Or I've reached this point where I'm going through a crisis that I was not prepared for. And I think that's just another lesson in life, which is everyone thinks that there's going to be a certain drama and that all those dramas are supposed to just be gone by the time you hit a certain age. That's not the case. There's always going to be a situation that we're going to have to deal with in our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s if we're lucky enough to be alive. But I think that the most important thing is it's not about any specific formula. It's much more about, in order for you to face these issues, with confidence, with curiosity, with a sense of equanimity. It's so important to incorporate those 5 values. Then you'll be all the more equipped.
I really appreciate that you've written a book like this, and you've actually given me courage to start taking on the world in my 40s. And I want to thank you for that. And you can find it at myfortytude.com. I love the name of your book, Sarah.
I'm so proud that you have this show, Siobhan. I really am. And I'm glad that we've hooked up virtually.
Awesome.
Thanks so much, Siobhan. I really appreciate it.